This is my phone. I turned it into this 6 months ago and it's been like this ever since. The home screen is minimalistic and void of temptations. I don't have any apps that suck out my motivation, focus, and energy, and even the browser is restrictive, so I don't get mindlessly sucked in. If you want to jump straight to how you can do this yourself with your phone, then go to the timestamp on the screen now. But I really think you should stick around to listen to why I have done this, the benefits that I've experienced after 6 months, and also if it's worth it. I believe there is a divide opening up between minds. There are those who are controlled by technology, just mindlessly following the path carved out by technology and the big tech companies. And there are those who have woken up to the fact that they are being controlled, that the technology devices around them are sucking out their motivation, drive, and energy, and also are taking up time in their lives that could be spent on reaching their goals and being out in the real world. They have discovered that the big tech companies are spending a lot of money and research on trying to figure out ways to hook you to spend the most time possible on their devices so they earn money without any consideration of your mental health and mental well-being. I personally discovered this about 8 years ago when I was 20 years old. I discovered it from other people that told me. Of course, I had an inclination of that something was wrong. I was young, I had a lot of motivation, I wanted to go out into the world, but I was spending more and more time on my technological devices, mindlessly consuming content that did not serve the purpose of growing me into the person that I wanted to become. So I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how I could rid myself of this addiction because I liked information so much, you know? And I've had bad phones. So you could ask me, why didn't I have a flip phone? And I had for years, I had bad phones that were very slow, that were cracked, that didn't give me any satisfaction of using them. And that's actually a really important part of my recovery as an information technology addict. So I'm still someone who loves technology. I think we can go into the future and use technology to improve this world and make it way better. I love the new inventions that we as humans come up with. So at some point I had to get myself an iPhone so I could get all of the benefits, but it is hard because you get sucked in again. And then I came over a video on some guy who made his phone into a dumb phone. And that's what I wanted to try, and 6 months ago I did that. The reason why it is so good is because when we have our phones that are so nice, they are shiny, bright colored, with apps that are sucking in our attention, and we just want to click on them and stay on them for hours, is that we do it many times in a day, up towards hundreds of times in a day. We pick up our phone, look at the phone, we get a habit pattern that suck us in, and by making your phone less appealing, like you see my phone, it makes that habit pattern weakened over time. It is like it reprograms your mind to not associate your phone with pleasure of every time you're a little bit bored, you can just pick it up and you can spend a lot of time mindlessly distracting yourself. Instead, you're looking at it and you see nothing. You can't use it for what you thought and you put it down again. And it's like getting a passive income, but instead of getting money, you are getting back your focus and life engagement. And that's why this is such a powerful method to disconnect you to the mindlessly addictive state that we humans are with our phones. So what benefits have I experienced over the last 6 months? Well, it has been, as I just told you, I've started to associate my phone less and less with an entertainment device and more as a tool, something that I can use to excel myself towards my goals. And I have used my phone like this for the last 6 months, and I could say that I've gotten more interested in my own life, being engaged with everything around me in the real world that's actually giving me a lot of joy and well-being. I've also been able to grow much more towards my goals because I'm not looking at what everybody else is doing all the time. I'm looking at what I'm doing with my life. And then you can start to see many things that are fun to improve and work on. I also have a lot less emotional and psychological distress because I'm not consuming all of that awful information that are on the internet, bad news, disastrous events that are stressing me. And also feel way more in control because I can control my decision making. It is not a phone giving me a notification and just sending me on some rabbit hole. It is actually me deciding what to do with the phone. So is it worth it? Yes, 100%. I think this is something everybody should do. Eventually, I think the big tech companies should start to make their phones more like this, so you can actually start to have more control, because they are actually using the psychological tricks to hook us into the phones and go out into the public and see how many people are lost in that. So this is how you set this up for yourself so you can get all of the benefits and start to take back focus in your life. Step 1 is to delete all of the apps that are not serving you. And when people hear this, it's usually a very strange reaction you get in your body. The thing that you are so addicted to, the thing you like to spend so much time on, just delete it. And I'm saying yes, delete that. And we have to work on that over and over again, because probably you will download it at some point. We're going to try to make it hard to do that in this video, but just delete it over and over again. Don't have it on your phone. There's no point of you having that on your phone. When are you going to use that? You should set a time to use it, and then don't use your phone. You can use your computer or your TV. So I would say delete all of the apps that are distracting you and not serving you. And just a little disclaimer here, some people say that, well, TikTok is serving me because I learn information. Well, you gotta do a cost-benefit analysis here. Like, what are you losing and what you're gaining? How much information from that TikTok are you actually regaining, and how much are you losing of your attention span? I would say chuck it out the window. Then number 2 is to turn off notifications. And I can't believe how long I went with notifications on before just turning them off, and how liberating it is to not have any notifications. And I mean anything. You don't want anything to like pling in your pocket and take away your attention from the environment around you. You may sitting have a great conversation with a friend. You may be out enjoying a view. You be working out, and then suddenly something is going to pull you into a device. You should turn off all notifications. That may seem radical, but again, trust in me and try this out for a period of time, and you will see that it is not that hard. You can just set specific times where you go in and you check out your messages and your mails and check out the essential stuff. And then you can have the only notification should be like phone call. And if people really want to reach you, then they can call you. So this is how you turn all of the notifications. You just go into the system settings and you just turn everything off. Make it completely unreachable for you to distract you with mindless notifications plinging in your pocket. So when you have deleted all your apps, what's going to become the best friend for you to reach your addiction is going to be the browser. Because when you don't have the apps, then you can go on Instagram.com or TikTok.com or YouTube.com. So what we want to do is that we want to make the browser also bulletproof. What you do is you download an app that is an extension you can put on Safari, and you just delete Google Chrome. In this case, we're talking about the iPhone. You also have an alternative for Android. And what we will do is then we will limit the browser. So we will click off the websites that you are usually going into. Let's say Instagram in my case, and X, and some other that you may have a problem with. And then you go into that, you make a password, write it down on a paper, and then you install that password, block everything, and then you burn the paper, throw it away. Just destroy the paper. You're not remembering that password. So when you feel weak, you cannot go in and write the password and take off the blockages. Personally, I feel like the only thing I can have on my phone is YouTube. And with this app, you could also restrict what YouTube is showing you. So when I scroll through YouTube, I don't see any thumbnails at all. I only see titles. And of course, next step would be to block YouTube entirely, but I'm posting YouTube videos, so that's at least something that I have, and I try the best I can to keep that under control. But if it goes out of control, I have to delete it. Then we have the last step, that is to make your phone look like a dumb phone. And that's a couple of apps that cost a little bit about money, but you are gaining that money back with your time, focus, and energy. I promise you that. So I don't have any affiliations with these apps, but you have to download this on either iPhone and Android. And then you follow the instructions that the app give you. It's a very simple setup instructions. You have to do a couple of things, but we are after all making your phone into a completely different thing than what you are used to with the iPhone. So it will look like this. And when it looks like this, it is not appealing at all, but it will give you your time back. Then earlier in this video, I talked about scheduling time for when to use your phone. And this is something you have to do for yourself. You have to figure out your life circumstance, and then rather schedule a time that you will sit down and you can spend time mindlessly consuming content and being entertained. So to use an example of myself, this for me is in the afternoon after I have done my work. But from the beginning of the day, when I wake up until around lunch, I don't use my phone at all. I don't let any distractions come in because that's disrupting my focus, and I want my deep work to be in the beginning of the day. Later in the day, you can set a time of an hour and a half, where you can spend some time mindlessly consuming. And this is also a little bit smart, because if you are really addicted, then setting some time to spend on the internet will help it make it more easier for you to slowly get a new and good habit, instead of going cold turkey and then like a rubber band just flipping right back to where you were. So you want to go slowly, and that's by setting some time that will do that for you. Lastly, in the back of my screen on my iPhone, like you can see here, I have something called the dopamine tier list. This is the list that I made. It's my opinion, but I feel like it's very accurate to the state we are with technology right now. And I have this on the back of my phone to daily remind myself where I'm spending the most time. So at the bottom, you could see that it's short form content, and when you're spending a lot of time here, that's the worst you can do for your focus. So the purpose of this list is to see what you are about to do on your phone, what you're usually doing around in the daily life, and then take one step up and build yourself up on that list. Let's say that you're spending a lot of time consuming TikToks, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, then it should actually be better for you to go and watch a long form YouTube video. That's moving up the list. If you're using a lot of times watching a long form YouTube video, then you can move up the list again and watch a movie. It takes more time, more attention to watch a whole movie, and that strengthens your focus. If you want to strengthen it even more, you can read a book, and then you move up this list. And having it as your background on your phone makes it way easier to stay in touch with what you're trying to accomplish here, and that's strengthening your focus and strengthening your mind. Okay, I'm Francis Drake. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you ever want to see me again, then you can subscribe to this channel. And that was me. Goodbye.